Hey guys, Stacy Fox here. I am going to teach you the wonderful and amazing pen tool, one of the selection tools in Photoshop. You've got your marquee selection tool, you've got your lasso, you've got your magic wand and your quick selection tool, and you have the pen tool. I will often talk about the pen tool and sort of compare it to parallel parking. As in, a lot of people don't like it because they don't know how to do it, and usually because they found it difficult to learn in the beginning, so they just sort of avoided it. But those who do know how to do it use it frequently. So this is a very similar thing to that parallel parking thing that we all dislike so much. Anyway, it's a fantastic tool for making selections of hard-edged objects. Like this motorcycle, for example. If I wanted to take this motorcycle off the background and place it on a new background, I want a nice, clean, sharp selection around it. This could go for any sharp-edged object that you want a nice, clean selection of. So you've got your pen tool, and you can start just about anywhere. I am pressing my space bar to get the hand when I'm zoomed in. While I'm zoomed in, I can press the spacebar, get the hand, and move my image around. So with this, you'll want to be fairly zoomed in so that you can see the details of what you're selecting. So you can start just about anywhere. I am going to start right here, and I'm going to click once, and then I'm going to choose a spot somewhere around this bend. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be able to drag my selection line, my path line, around this bend. So I'm going to click and hold my mouse, left click, click and hold, and you'll see the line is straight, but if I'm still holding my left click button. If I drag, I'm dragging that line to match the bend of the seat. And then you'll get these handles here, which if I was to try and click in another spot, it would try to go in that direction because of these handles. So what you got to do is Option or Alt click that little node in the middle, and it'll snap off the handle, which allows you to go in any direction you want moving forward. So I want to go around this little bend right here on the seat, so I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to drag to bend the line. I'm going to Alt or Option click the node to snap off the handle. I'm going to the next point right here. I'm going to click, hold, and drag to make the line match. Let go. Option or Alt click the node to snap off the handle. I'm going to go to the next spot, and as you can see, it bends here and then it bends here again, so that wasn't a good spot to start my next one. So I'm going to do Control Z or Command Z to undo, and I'm going to go just to where this line starts to bend back up, so it's going to come straight down. I'm going to click, hold, and drag my line to match. Let go. Alt or Option click the node to snap off that handle. Move to the next bend, click, hold, and drag to match the line. Option or Alt click the node to snap off the handle. Next spot, click, drag, hold, and drag. Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. Next spot, Option click to snap off the handle. Next spot, Option click. Sometimes it's hard to see where that little node is. It's also good to stay a little bit inside of where the item ends. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. This is a straight line, so I'm just going to click once, and you don't get the handles when you do a straight line. And while you're doing this, it's good to zoom out and make sure that you're not grabbing the wrong stuff. When you're zoomed in like this, you tend to lose track of what you're selecting. Here's another straight line. Here's a slight bend, so I'm going to click, drag, and hold, and Option to snap off the handle. Click, drag, and hold. Option click to snap off the handle. Click, drag, and hold. Option click to snap off the handle, and I got another straight line, so I'm just going to click once, and I'm going to click, drag, and hold, and Option click to snap off the handle. I got a straight line here. Now for a tire, well, I got a little bit of a bend. See, you want to make sure that you're not, when you're going to your next spot and you're going to click and you know you're probably going to drag it down a little bit. I'll show you what happens if you try to drag it too far and it goes off the screen. It goes woo, and you lose it and it just goes too fast. So I'll do Control Z to undo that. So I want to move it up a little bit so when I drag down here it doesn't do that. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag to match the line of the tire, and I'm going to Option or Alt click to snap the handle off. I got a straight line here. I probably won't make it all the way around this bend, it'll probably go too round, so I'm going to go to the middle of the muffler, click, hold, and drag. Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. Next bend, Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. Here's a straight line, so I'm just going to click once. And I won't get around this whole tire with one bend, but I can probably get about half of it. So I'm going to try here, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag, and that looks like a pretty close selection of the tire. Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. Come up here, click, hold, and drag to match the roundness of the tire. Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. Got a straight line here. I'm going to zoom in a bit. I can get rid of this if I, you don't have to be incredibly particular. The more particular you are, the better, but if you've, like I've got a little bit of the ground in there, but that's okay, I can get rid of it later and I'll show you how. Click, click. I'm going to click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. And then in an effort to make this video not too long, I'm just going to go real quick here and try to get around the bike as quickly as possible. This looks time consuming, but it's really not that bad once you get the hang of it. I'm going to go a little bit quick here, and I'm going to zoom out so I make sure I've got this kickstand coming up. There's a little something on the kickstand there. I'm just going to ignore it. Click, hold, and drag. Straight line, bent line, click, hold, and drag. Option. I've always got my finger on the Alt button. I'm on a PC, but on a Mac it's the Option key. I've always got my finger hovering over that Alt button. I'm going to click and drag, go up. Whoops. Command Z if you did something wrong. Click, hold, and drag to bend the line. Option or Alt click to snap off the handle. See, so as you can see, when you get quick at it, it's not that bad, and it provides the most accurate and the best okay, computer's frozen up. The best selection of a hard-edged image. It's going to provide a nice, clean, sharp. Wow, look at that! My computer froze, and I'm going to just step back in history here a couple of times because, okay, snap off the handle, straight lines, click, hold, and drag, straight, 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 straight. Here's a bend. Option click to snap off the handle. I'm just going to go kind of fast here, guys. You can rewind it for me to be repeating what I was doing originally. I just want to get around the bike real quick so I can show you how to select the areas like this in between the spokes and in between the wires and things like that. It's pretty much the same thing as what we're doing now. So click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. And option click to snap off the handle. Oh, see, you gotta be careful, it'll just run right off the page there on you. Click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag. Option click. And around the bike we go. Straight line, straight, 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 curved, I'm just going real quick here now, guys. I'm not being incredibly particular about this, just to get through the tutorial fairly quick, so I'm not taking up too much of your time with repetitive stuff. Click, hold, and drag to get a curve. Option click to snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag. Option click, snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag for everything that you want to be round, and just click once for anything straight. Click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag. Now, little items that are really round, you might have to make a couple of little nodes. You might have to click more than once. You won't get a perfectly round object without clicking a couple of times. But the name of the game is to click as little times as possible and get around your item quickly. Which is why this click, hold, and drag thing is wonderful, because you can go around. Now, some people, when they learn this tool, they'll do this. They'll click, 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 click 300 times around a bend like this. But the more you do that, the more time it's going to take. So, go further down the object. Click, hold, and drag to get a nice round bend. Click, option click, or alt click to snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag to go around your bend. I'm just trying to get around this bike fairly quickly. And again, I'm pressing spacebar. I personally like to have my my scroll wheel in the middle of my mouse set to be used as a zoom in and out, because I find it's really easy and quick to just use my scroll wheel to zoom in and out of my image. And when I'm zoomed all the way in, I just press the spacebar till I get the hand, and I can move it around when it's zoomed in. So I'm going to go to my next spot. I'm going to option click to snap off the handle. Next spot. Next spot. Option click, snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag. Here's a straight line. Click, hold, and drag. Straight, rounded, straight. Here's the speedometer. Make sure you're watching to make sure that you're selecting only the bike. Here's a straight line, and then we got a bend, and it's a nice like wide bend, so I'm going to go all the way up here. Click, hold, and drag, and option just click off the handle. This is a little bit rounded. Option click off the handle, and click and drag. And I always try to stay a little bit and that's not a good example, but if I go straight, I always try to stay a little tiny bit inside that rigid line of pixels. Little tiny bit, 1 or 2 pixels inside the line, like inside on the actual bike itself, so that when you make this selection active, you're not grabbing any of the background pixels like these trees. You're only grabbing the chrome, you're only grabbing the bike. And you know for sure because you're 2 or 3 pixels inside the line. And here's a straight, and here's a bend, so I'm going to click, hold, and drag, snap off the handle. Oops, undo, only goes to there. Click, hold, and drag, snap off the handle. Okay, now there's all these little nuts and bolts sticking out here that I want to go around, because the cleaner the selection, the more you include, the better. Oh, look at that, I made a huge mistake. See that? That's why it's important to make sure. I thought this was on the bike, and it's not. It's the boat thing in the back there. This is on a pier. See, if I zoom out, I can see what I've been doing. I've been selecting this. So I'm just going to jump back in history to a point where I maybe right there by the mirror. Oh, I gotta go back a few times here. This is how you're gonna go back. This is why you gotta keep watching what you're doing. Alright, snap off the handle there. This is the handlebars, not that thing in the background. This is why you gotta zoom out every once in a while. Make sure you're grabbing the right stuff. Because when you're zoomed in tight, sometimes it can all look the same. Click, hold, and drag. And click, hold, and drag. Go up here, down here, here. Click, hold, and drag. Option to click to snap off the handle. Click, hold, and drag. So anytime there's a bend, you're going to click, hold, and drag. left click your mouse, hold it down and drag, and let go when you're happy with where the line is. Option click to snap off the handle. Where's that node? There it is. Well, up, 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 up. I just want to go quickly now. It's taking too long. Well, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really taking long, but this way of selecting is definitely more time consuming than using the magic wand, but you're never going to get a nice hard edge, sharp selection using the magic wand tool. Especially in a case with a vehicle where there's chrome and it's backing onto skies or water. A lot of the times chrome or reflective objects will pick up the colors that are in the background because they're reflecting them, and if you use a magic wand tool or the area selection tool or the quick select tool, what happens is it sees just the blues and it grabs stuff that you don't want to grab. Okay, so I'm coming back to my starting point already. So what happens is when you get back to that starting point, you'll see the little circle means to close the path. So it means you've come all the way around. I'm going to draw another line there. Click, hold, and drag. Option click to snap off the handle. And then you'll see as soon as you hover over your starting point, you get that little circle beside your pen. If you click there, you can still drag if you want to. I'm holding right now, holding and dragging, but it's okay. The line's fairly straight, so I'm going to let it go. Now you got a closed path. Okay? So you'll see in your history palette, it'll say new anchor point, pick up path, new anchor point, pick up path, blah, 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 blah. So that's your progress of doing your path. So once you've got that done, then you would go in and you would grab areas inside that selection and do the same thing that you did when you went all the way around the object. So if there's a hole inside of your object, you just go in and select it the exact same way that you selected your bike, the hole outside of the bike or your object, whatever your object is. So I'm just gonna do that real quick, and there's this little space right here. And here's where it can get a little time consuming. Going in and getting rid of every single one of these little spaces inside the spokes. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to grab this. Now imagine that I selected inside all these little, I'll do one or two here. Click, click. A lot of these are fairly straight, so you can just click, click, click. There's no click and bending. Here's another one. I'll take out this spot here. Just follow the stuff. You're taking out the pavement basically in this situation. There's a little bend in that, so I'll click, hold, and drag, and then Option to snap off the handle. Option or Alt click. Click, click. The straight lines are super easy because you're just clicking away. So if I were to do all of the spaces inside of these spokes back here and over here to take out the ground and just go in to these spots in here and take out this and do the whole job properly, and you'll see I'm going to move on to the next step real quick here because I don't want to take up too much time. But in order to select this entire bike, it would probably, well, as you see in this video, is only a couple minutes long so far, and that didn't take me that long. I would say to select this bike properly with everything that needs to be selected, it would take me maybe 25 minutes. So once it's time consuming, but again, I'm going to show you why this pen tool is superior to any other selection tool when making selections of hard edge objects. So what you're going to do is go over to your paths, and if that's not over here, if it's not in your workspace, then you just go Window, Show Paths. Make sure Paths is ticked, and you'll see you got a work path, and it's showing because that line is still in there, and it's showing the path around the bike that you selected, and it's also showing what you selected inside that path. So what you do now is you on the PC you would Control click. And then the Mac equivalent of Control, I believe, is Option or Command click. Try either or. Right on the picture, not the word, not this word work path. You want to click right on the picture. So control click that and you'll get your marching ants, which means you have it selected. Now, in a lot of selecting we do in Photoshop, we then will go to one of these tools so we can right click inside and say feather by a couple pixels, but we're not going to do that because we don't want a soft edge. We want a nice hard edge. This is, you know, it's a hard edge object. It's steel, and it needs to be chosen. It needs to be selected with a hard edge. So now that you've got that, if you go back to your layers, you've got your marching ants all the way around your subject. You do your Command C, which is copy, and your Command V as in Victor, which is paste, and you'll see it created a new layer of just the bike. So if I turn off the layer in the background, you see you've got this beautiful selection. If you zoom in on it, it's super tight around the edges, nice and sharp, nice and clean. So now if I was to take this background, turn it back on, and fill it with black or any color that I want, really. I'll put my black to the background and I'll press Control Delete, which automatically fills with the background color. You'll see I've got my bike perfectly on a black background. And I can move it around. It's independently on its own layer. There's a dark shadow here that kind of makes it wash into the background. This is not the greatest photo. It's got harsh shadows on it. It was done at dusk. And then of course you can Command T because it's on its own layer. Transform it, move it around whatever way you want. You could skew it a little bit. You could do whatever you want. Just don't make it look too wonky. Hit enter when you're happy. And there you go. You've got this super nice, tight, clean selection around your object. There's none of the background showing. Again, I didn't select all these little areas in here because I wanted to get through it fairly quickly, but you'll see where I made the selection inside the spokes is all gone. And that's the idea. That's the name of the game, is to get everything in the background gone so that if you wanted to put something in the background, like perhaps I wanted to put, let's say, Harley Davidson. Say I wanted to put that in the background really big, and I don't want it overlapping. I want it behind the bike. I'm going to drag that text layer below my bike. See, now if I put it behind the bike, every little hole that's there, your items are going to show behind the bike. So you could drop that in there. You could do whatever you want. And then some people have asked me how you do a fairly believable reflection on the floor. If this was to be, if you wanted to make it look like it was on a shiny floor or a glossy floor, you can press Command J, which makes a duplicate of your bike layer, and then Command T, and flip the bike upside down. Now you want to make sure the tires are touching, because if it was sitting on a reflective surface, they would be. The reflection would be touching the item right where it meets at the floor. So I'm just transforming the copy that I flipped upside down to match. And then if you grab your eraser tool, put it on a nice big soft brush on a low opacity. Anything that's a reflection, just make sure that you got the right layer. So that's your bike, and this is your reflection. So go on to the reflection, and actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this canvas a little bigger just for demonstration purposes here. I'm just going to crop it a little. Oops, it's got some dimensions in there. Let me clear that out. Just to show you a little bit more of the canvas, just to show you the reflection a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to crop that there. I'll move this up here. Okay, so you've got this reflection. So a reflection gets more faint the further it gets away from the subject. So what I'm going to do is grab my eraser tool on a nice soft brush, really, really soft. A pretty big brush too. I don't want it to erase the whole thing. That's about good. Hardness is all the way to the left, which is super soft, and I'm going to leave it at 39%, and I'm just going to sweep over that reflection layer, just so that it fades a little further into the distance, the further it gets away from the bike. Pardon me. And that's it. So if you wanted to put the logo in there behind, you're going to see that it's, you know, it's actually behind the item, and it looks especially cool if you, I don't know, if you had a model standing and you wanted to select your model, you could do that from another image. You could select a model and you could have him or her standing behind the bike, and their body would show through the spikes, and their feet would show, through the forks and through the spokes. You would see where their feet come to the ground. Like, it'd be very realistic looking and pretty cool. So that's how you make a pen tool selection. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you master the pen tool, because I'm telling you, it's like parallel parking. Once you learn how to do it, you're going to use it all the time, I promise you. Nice, clean, sharp selections. This is how the pros do it. Learn it. You'll love it, I promise. Cheers.